Okay, breaking news. We finally have a game week line for Georgia and Alabama, and it's about what you would expect, which is 3.5. So here's why I expect that that's right. So Georgia is a 3.5 point favorite to beat Alabama in Athens. The story published on Dawg Post. A couple thousand people have already read it. I'll put the QR code down below in a second here. But this gives Georgia about a 62% chance to win the game. So the Dogs have played 16 games like this under Kirby Smart, where they're anywhere from a point to a 4.5 point favorite. And they are 11-5 straight up in those games. So there's only been 2 games that Georgia has played where the Dogs were at home for this. One of us was in 2016 where they lost to Georgia Tech on the final play of the game, if you recall, a 1-point win for the Jackets. And then the other was the Mississippi State game the week after Notre Dame, or 2 weeks after Notre Dame, whatever it was, in 17, where they blitzed State, Jake Fromm with that Statue of Liberty play. And so, Kirby and company, Kirby specifically, has a very long history with Alabama, but this is a game Georgia should win. You're at home. You are the better team. The 3.5, to me, shows a very heavy public bet hook on this thing. Our friends at BetQL are going to give us more data as the week goes on. They'll tell you who the sharp bets are on if you are participating in that. I would certainly consider BetQL. It's a great service, quite frankly, that you get to pencil some things in when you're taking a look at things. Use the code DOGPOST to get 15% off if you're considering BetQL. Now, it's not a betting house. They're just giving you the data that if you are choosing to do that, it's not legal in the state of Georgia, as I understand it still. It's sports betting. But if you are elsewhere and so forth, or you're making bets however you do, check that out. Again, the 15% off, the code is DOGPOST. I've read it quite a bit lately. I'm not no promotion situation. I'm just saying I read it quite a bit. And there are times when there's value out there. I think that there was some value with Tennessee last week. Georgia just didn't beat them by what they probably should have. And that's the question coming into this one is there's a lot of, I wouldn't say red flags for this game. I wouldn't call it that. I would say that there are some concerns coming into it, really for both teams, but more for Alabama. Kalen Boer has really struggled to win on the road. He's won one road game at Alabama. That's at LSU. All of the other games, they lost. So Florida State, Vanderbilt, I can't remember, Oklahoma, and there was another one in there too, just Tennessee. So just a lot of challenging road environments in this league, and he's lost all of them, but perhaps the most difficult one, which is Death Valley. And then you look at, Georgia can Kirby sort of settle this thing in and prove that he does not have an Alabama problem, because it seems to me he does. Seems to everybody that's pretty clear that he does. There's no reason to be upset about that. It is what it is. And that was an amazing game a season ago. There's never been a time where Georgia played Alabama where Alabama wasn't really good under Nick or even Kalen DeBoer. You got to remember, a season ago, that was peak Kalen DeBoer, actually, in 2024. That win over Georgia in a weed-smelling and just completely weed-infested Bryant-Denny Stadium. That was peak Kalen DeBoer. Everything since that time has been adequate. They were either supposed to win the game or they lost. I mean, they've lost on the road or away from Bryant-Denny. They've lost to Vanderbilt, Michigan, Tennessee, Florida State, Michigan. Okay, let me do it in order. Vanderbilt, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Michigan, Florida State. They've lost away from home in 5 of 6 games. They beat LSU on the road. The win over Wisconsin looked halfway impressive the other day. It doesn't look great now. Wisconsin sucks. Doesn't mean anything for Saturday, but if you were to say who has the best win? It's clearly Georgia has the best win, and Alabama will still have to deal with Tennessee. That game will be at Bryant-Denny. Josh Heupel's not great on the road. So there's a lot of challenges in all of this, but to me, this is a massive opportunity for Georgia. Massive opportunity for the Dogs to not lock in a playoff spot, because we don't know what will happen with Alabama as this season goes on. I mean, when you consider their schedule, I mean, there's still some work to be done here. You've got, y'all can laugh if you want to, but you're dealing with number 5 Georgia, number 20 Vanderbilt comes to you. I don't think that's a certain win for Alabama. They got to go to Missouri. They'll probably be like a 3-point favorite in that game. They should win that game, but they might not. They got to host Tennessee. They go to South Carolina, a game that at that point they'll probably win. They got to host LSU. They got to host top 10 LSU, top 10 Alabama. They play top 10 Georgia, and then they go to Auburn. I mean, yeah. I mean, 8-4 ain't out of the question at all. You thought Clemson was in trouble, and they are. But Alabama, this is a tricky, difficult schedule, a schedule that Nick Saban would survive, but he'd have a loss as well, or two. I mean, it's just too difficult now. That you're replacing Mississippi State with either Oklahoma or South Carolina. I mean, it's tough. It's tough. They don't play Arkansas. They don't play Mississippi State. They're playing Oklahoma, ranked Vanderbilt. They're playing Missouri, ranked Missouri. I mean, this is a challenging schedule for Alabama. They got to have it Saturday night. I mean, when I watched them play Florida State, I did not take away that they got their ass just whipped completely the whole time. I think they played a running quarterback who really hurt them at times. He had, I think, 80 yards. But the problem was they weren't stopping the run at all. And, 2 of their 3 games, they have not run the ball. They have not run the ball effectively, period. That's not good. Those are not good signs going into games. That's not what you want. But again, for Georgia, are you going to do what you're supposed to do? Are you going to come into games and get the job done when you're the better team? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, right here with Alabama, total defense is certainly not bad, but rushing defense is rough. 71st in the country, that's not them. Turnover margin is where they're really making it happen. I mean, they are getting a bunch of turnovers. So that, I don't know if that happened all in the ULM game or the Wisconsin game, but Florida State, who everybody thinks is pretty good, and I think they are. Florida State, here were the numbers for Florida State running the ball. They went 29, times for about, what is that? 105 minus 18? 87 yards. That's not great. Here's the more disturbing part. They allowed 230. They allowed 230. That is way too many. They allowed 230 yards rushing. They gained 87, or whatever I said. I mean, that would make me very nervous. That would make me very nervous. Against Wisconsin, once more, and the quarterback really played well in this game. They had 72 yards rushing on 22 attempts. We can't even get 4-yard carry. That's a problem. That is not going to work against this Georgia defense. Now, they tightened up. They only allowed 90 against Wisconsin, but geez. I mean, against legitimate Power 5 teams, you're not running the ball. That is not a good look. That is not a good look. They really ran it on Louisiana Monroe. But I think, you got to be careful with this line, though, because once you are so certain something's going to happen, why is that line so low? Is there value there with Georgia? I mean, I don't know. I mean, Georgia's relatively balanced, generally speaking. Top 25 offense. Scoring offense is 30th with 39 points a game. Total defense is 40 or 39. Run defense is 18. They're not even allowing 100 yards rush, not even allowing 85 yards rushing. Tennessee threw for a bunch of yards on them, so that's part of it. Scoring defense, 18 a game. I would pick Tennessee to beat Alabama right now, even in Tuscaloosa. So I think Tennessee is a good team. I don't think Georgia got away with one. I think they were a slightly better team. I think that the penalties aren't a big deal at Alabama right now. There's some stuff. I mean, Georgia's going for about 3 penalties a game. Alabama's going for about not quite 7. Does that make a difference? I mean, all the little stuff adds up. 30 yards here, 80 yards there. That's a touchdown basically. And I think that I'm not surprised that this line is 3.5. Maybe it should be 5.5. Maybe it should be 2. It shouldn't be 1.5. I mean, Georgia is a home team. I think there's a lot of deference given to Alabama, but I'm not. There's going to be one of two narratives that escapes this night. It's going to be Kirby Smart can't beat Alabama, or Alabama is done under Kalen DeBoer. It's one of the two, and it's not going to be. There's going to be no in between. I'm just telling you. I know right now what this is going to be, and that's how we roll these days. But I'm not sure either of those are reality. But that's what will escape from this. And I think if you're Georgia, you'd rather it not be that Kirby can't beat Kalen DeBoer. But if he doesn't beat Kalen DeBoer in Alabama this time, that'd be a bad loss.